So you're ready to get started day trading futures. In this video, I want to share with you what I've learned over the last 13 years on my journey, okay, with experience over time trading these markets, okay. In particular, the indice futures, okay. We're talking about the NASDAQ 100, the E-mini S&P 500, the Dow, the Russell. I've traded just about all those indices at some point or another. Today, I tried to really focus in on, and I have been, with the NASDAQ 100 futures and the E-mini S&P. Just started kind of looking at, well, I've always looked at gold, but never really traded it. So gold is another good market. It's a commodity that I've been paying a lot of attention to lately. And I mean, it doesn't really matter the market when it comes to futures. The strategy in which I talked about many times over on this channel, it works across many markets. It doesn't matter if it's stocks, forex, options. It works. You as a trader just have to be able to be on your A game in understanding the most important critical piece of trading, which is market structure. You've got to be able to read the market, because if you don't, it doesn't matter how much time anyone, myself, spends with you day in and day out showing you an effective strategy. That strategy may never work for you. You may never become profitable. You may hit or miss 50% of the time. And it all boils down to being able to understand what is the market currently doing, reading structure and understanding which way you should be trading. Trading supply and demand is what it's the bread and butter, the cornerstone to how I particularly trade 98% of the time. And it works, but again, you have to focus in on what is really going on. Is the market trending to the upside or trending to the downside? Because by now you should understand that supply and demand works best when the market is trending and not ranging. It's tougher to trade supply and demand when the market is ranging, okay? So basically, if you have not watched market structure video that I did a couple of them here on this channel, just go to the YouTube channel. Okay, the homepage, a little magnifying glass, type in market structure, and a few videos should pop up. Now, if you are an elite member, okay, those that gain access to the private community of videos, that includes the trade breakdowns, the video playlist, which is a hand-selected list of videos that I pulled away from the channel, so that you don't have to watch over 800 videos. They are the nuts and bolts to the strategy as a whole, okay? As well as I did a great in-depth video on market structure. So that's up to you to choose if you want to become an elite member or not. But we're talking about pennies on the dollar, only $6.99 to give you access to those boatload of trade breakdowns, to while walk you through trade setups. I discuss with you stop loss placement. I discuss with you profit target areas. I discuss with you my mindset on those trades and what I was thinking. Again, as well as various other content and the video playlist and that market structure video. So if you want to become an elite member, okay, there have been plenty of traders that have come and gone from the channel, because I do not expect anyone to stick around once they become successful themselves and finding their own edge in these markets. Then move on, okay? And I want to say this on the flip side. If a strategy, what I'm sharing, or someone else, it doesn't work, then cut your ties and move on. Lots of times what I found is it's not the strategy. It's most times it's the person. They can't grasp it. They can't understand it. And why? Number one reason why is because they have learned something in the past, and then they've learned something in the past, and then they try to learn something in the past, and now they're learning something else, and they're getting confused. Okay? Then they start to mix and mingle all these various things together. So if something doesn't work for you, I'm just going to say it again. Move on, cut your ties, move on, and try to find a system that works for you. We're not all going to see things through someone else's eyes the same way. Lots of times, because, when it comes to trading, it could be something psychological that you're struggling with. It could be the strategy as a whole. You just don't grasp or understand it. And most times, again, that's because you're confused with something you may have learned before. I did a video way back when, talk about decluttering your mind. You got to let go of things if you're trying to learn something fresh. You can't hold on to the idea of one strategy and then trying to learn something else, and they're going to bring the two together, and then it can be conflicting. You're never going to get or become successful if you don't start from scratch. And I had to do that myself. All right. My biggest problem was market structure. And that's a lot of traders' issues and problems, is really not understanding how to read the market. Again, like I said, you can take any strategy, okay? Any strategy. But if you don't know how to read the market correctly, how are you going to be able to effectively use that strategy? All right? Because you're not going to know, you're not going to know which direction to use that strategy in a correct manner. Okay? So, first and foremost, structure is extremely important. Are we moving to the downside or to the upside trending? You have to understand that if we are trending and breaking structure lower, then your trade should only be focused in looking for supply area setups to go short. In opposite of, like today, this is my higher range chart, 120 range chart that I like to use on the NASDAQ, okay? Because the NASDAQ is a thin market. It has a lot of movement. We started to break structure higher. So if we're breaking structure higher on our higher base chart, then we should only be doing what? Looking for buy positions at areas of demand. This was a beautiful setup for a for a demand setup on the NASDAQ 100 futures. Now, there was also a, let me see here. This area down here, was a demand area down here, as you can see. But just be careful there, because lots of times when you see a candle like this where the market pushes up and it touches, or it's pretty much, you have equal highs right here in a sense, where in reality, this didn't really have equally put or meet the high right here, this bearish candle, the wick of that candle. But if it did, say for example, you got to be careful there, because that could be treated as low probability, because it could go up there, test that wick, and then kind of come back down. In this case here, it broke above. So this is also a demand area right here. Okay, so if I was looking to go long, which I did on this trade, on this area right here, this is a nice demand area right here. You want to be looking to size up the market, and first and foremost, be looking for which direction should I be taking a trade in. Structure being broken to the upside, demand setups. Quality demand setup here. The market broke these highs right here. There's also a demand area here. And you want to pay attention to fresh zones or newer zones. You don't want to be looking for taking trade setups where it's taking hours for the market to come back, or days for it to come back. Any setup, especially when the market is trending in one direction, in this case here, we're bullish as of right now, and that can change. You know, the market can reverse and turn at any given time. But in this case here, because it came back to this demand area right here, this is a nice area to take a trade from. But we have to be mindful of this as well, because on the push up here, the market broke structure higher. This will be the latter portion of this leg or this move to the upside. This would be kind of more so the upper portion, or the 50% area. Now, I don't trade fibs, but I'm just showing you here that if I was to run a fib retracement, this will put us around the 50% area back at this zone, pretty much right here. Okay, that decent area, 50% or lower. You know, kind of raises the probability of a trade working out in our favor. Plus, we have a beautiful, beautiful break of structure above these highs right here. That's also going to aid us in a trade situation of looking for an opportunity to go long. And there's a very small gap back at this zone, maybe within just a tick or two, back at this zone here. So it's an unmitigated zone. All those things are going to raise the confluence level for us to look for an opportunity to go long. Again, we're breaking structure higher, look for pullbacks to key areas of demand. If we're trending and breaking structure lower, then look for key pullbacks to key areas of supply. You can see when the market got to this area here, then it rejected. And what did it do? It pushed higher. Okay, it pushed higher. And so we are continuing the movement in the direction, the current direction of the market, as it is bullish at this point right now on the higher base chart. Okay, even though we had this nice beautiful run to the downside, the market started changing its direction when it started breaking structure higher. Okay, and then leaving behind this beautiful demand zone resting right here. So that's why I put that arrow there, because I took a screenshot of this and posted it over in the Discord and showed people or individuals that this would have been my first area of opportunity, waiting patiently for a beautiful demand setup or a trade. Okay, everything else in between, since the market opened, just didn't quite make any sense to me. I did see where it pulled back here and it broke structure higher, but then it came back right here and didn't know what it was going to do, if it was going to break this low. Had it broken this low right here, then we're taking out a major low to the downside. So the continuation of the trend going lower still will put me in the bearish mode to look for opportunities on a pullback, okay, to go short. But we pull back and then we broke structure higher. That's which now tells me that, okay, we are still bullish. All right. So understand that depicting the direction of the market first and foremost, understanding market structure, and then using the supply and demand strategy. So for example, if we use, a strategy like I use, I'm marking up my higher base zone, which is my 120 range zone, after I see structural breaks moving higher. And now we're in a bullish movement to the upside. This is a demand zone that I would mark. It's high probability because there's a gap back at the zone, meaning it's unmitigated. It has not been tested yet. Then I'll move down to a lower base chart. Let's do that right quick. Simply put, this big box here, what you see here, that's that 120 range demand zone. I'm on my 24 range entry chart now. I use pretty much two charts when it comes to trading the NASDAQ. One of higher time frame or higher base chart, the 120, to mark the zone. Then I move down to a lower base chart, 24 range, to mark a zone just as well. But this zone is one in which I'm going to take my trade from off of the 24 range chart. And so I'm also looking for a demand zone or setup. Now, what I like to see is the market to break higher. And then if it pulls back and there's a zone within, which meaning a lower base zone from the 24 range chart that's inside the 120 range zone, the higher base chart, then that's going to raise the probability of the trade working out in my favor because there's multiple confluence there. Think about it. So you see where the market pushed higher here and broke above these highs over here, okay? And then it continued pushing higher, all right? And then on the the higher base chart, we marked this higher base zone. When the market first comes back and tests this this higher base 120 range zone, the first thing I do is look to my left-hand side of my chart to see, is the market, to see if there is a beautiful demand setup where the market broke structure on the lower base chart. Yeah, right here. So I'll mark that, okay? I'll mark it right here and bring it across. Now I have a demand on the higher base, a demand on the lower base, and then all I'm waiting for now, like I talk about in many videos, is what? What's the last part of what I talk about, guys? You guys should already know this. And it is the confirmation of the rejection to go long. Break and close of a candle above, right there, 988, 18,988. And it goes all the way up to 19,023. So you can pick up your 20 points. Remember I talk about picking up at a minimum of 20 points on the NASDAQ? You can definitely do it if you are trading confluence and understanding structure of the market. It's a simple strategy to use. We're using, multi-chart confluence that's going to aid us in taking a trade, not just using one chart, but marking up two zones. The first zone was that demand zone off the higher base chart, and then the second zone was the demand zone off the lower base chart, but both were in confluence with one another. The lower base zone inside the higher base zone, it's going to raise the interest. And both of these are unmitigated, ungapped, untested zones. So that raises the probability. There are multiple means of confluence here that's going to put the trade or put us in position to take this high probability setup just as well. So this is a strategy that I put together over time, spending many, months, years, back testing, forward testing. And this is what I do that allows me to become and have consistently profitable on the daily basis. Understand that. Again, I can't be in someone else's mind and help them see things the way I see them. Okay. Whatever you're struggling with, you're going to have to figure out. And I'm going to tell you 9 out of 10 times what people are struggling with is understanding how to read the market. They see everything that looks to be an okay demand zone or supply zone. I'm taking it. Okay. Market pulls back right here. I'm going to take this zone right here. Why? When there's other zones marked below, resting below where there's gaps set, you've got to, you've got to have parameters put in place. You have to understand that, yeah, this is a demand zone, but is it a logical one that really makes sense if there's ones that are below, and this being a more beautiful break of structure than this right here, this area here. Okay? You have to see things like this and think logical. Trading is, it can be complicated, but it's all in how much complication you put into the formula. Okay? Is what I'm trying to say. Make it simple, but be able to visually and perceptually be able to understand and see what's going on in the charts. Okay? You ever heard of the saying that trade what you see? You have to, but you got to be able to understand structure of the market and then trade in zones that make sense. If the zone does not hold up, I talk about this in many videos, cut your losses early to protect your money so the market doesn't give you a full tap on your stop. All right? Simply put, if you're riding that or weathering that storm when the market's coming back against you, then that's your fault, because I've already said it a million times over. Okay? So anyways, I just want to share with you over the last 13 years, what I put together, what has worked for me. I've talked about this strategy time and time again, okay, here on the channel. So please, if you're a beginner, a viewer, or trader, or someone that's interested in trading futures, try the strategy. Back test it, forward test it. But before you do all that, understand how to read the market the correct way to understand which way is the market moving right now. Is it in a bullish movement to the upside or a bearish movement to the downside, so that you can depict which way or the other you need to be looking for trade setups. Okay, that's all. But if you're a first-time viewer and you have not subscribed to the channel, please take the time to go ahead and click on the sub button down below. Make sure to turn your post notifications on so you don't miss any of the uploads. If you're interested in becoming an elite member, as I was talking about at the earlier part of this video, just scroll down to the description portion of the video. You'll see two tiers there. I mean, excuse me, not two tiers. You'll see two links. The first link is the Discord link, okay? You can join that. It's free. The second one is to become an elite member. If you click on that link, you'll see two tiers pop up. Make sure to choose the one for $6.99, and you will gain access to those trade breakdown videos, that video playlist, and that great video that I covered on market structure. But as far as the trade breakdowns, there are tons of trade breakdown videos to where I walk you through setups in detail so you can understand the strategy as a whole, like what I'm thinking, like what I'm seeing. And these are trades that I posted over in the Discord community for public viewing as well. But anyways, I just want to share that bit of information with you. But again, it's only $6.99, but that's your choice. And basically, you're just supporting my efforts as a content creator and putting out so much, or discussing, great information, sharing what I know through experience and knowledge of trading. And I'm not telling anyone to trade the way that I do. I'm just sharing with you the way that I do it. We have had successful people that have, come and gone on the Discord and the channel that have fared well and doing well for themselves when it comes to the strategy as a whole. Again, but not everybody is going to see things through someone else's eye the same way. So if it doesn't work for you, then move on and find something that does. I personally, it burns me and it really bothers me when I see people that just don't know when to stop, in a sense, and don't know when to just move on. All right, because there's things that I've come across that didn't work for me, and I just moved on. Okay. And maybe if I would have stuck around a little longer, maybe I would have, or maybe not. But eventually I found something that worked for me that I put together that I was able to, become successful with. So that's all that really mattered to me. And if you could do the same, then do that just as well. You could take what I'm sharing with you and twist it in a sense and add your own little flavor to it and make it your own. I talked about that so many times as well in the past. So I just want to see people become inspired and truly become successful. And if you're really truly passionate about trading futures, you're going to stick with it and you're going to find something that works for you. But this strategy that I talk about day in and day out, I mean, it's extremely simple to learn, because all it is using multi-chart confluence and and marking up great quality zones that make sense. But the biggest part of it all that a lot of people don't have problems with is sitting on their hands and waiting patiently. They always have to feel like and take everything that just, oh, this is a demand setup. Oh, this is a supply setup. Guys, you've got to be patient on these setups. If not, then you may be up one moment and then you blow your account the next, because you're just taking everything under the sun. And if I could give you one of the biggest pieces of advice, one trade, tops 2 trades a day. If you are up and are in the green and have profited, then cut Close the machine down. Shut the charts off. Okay? You're done. You've made your money. Everything else, you're just being greedy. And you will get slapped on the hand for being greedy. Okay? But I appreciate everyone that's been, like I said, watching the video, spending time, and understanding what I've been sharing, that, trust in what I've been sharing just as well, and been practicing and doing your homework. Okay? All right? But outside of that, if you found value in today's video, please do me the biggest favor and drop a like on the video. So that way the video content can get out to other individuals that are, going through the same thing as you may be going through right now, trying to find something that is going to work for them just as well. And, if you're successful, then share it with other individuals on your social media platforms just as well. But outside of that, I appreciate everyone. Take care. See you in the next one.